And welcome to Mostly Minnesota Music Podcast Edition. I'm Ann Tracy. I'm here with my co-host,
Heather Baker.
yeah, and we're here with Lucas Kurmis. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi. I'm taking a breath because we're here to talk to you about some stuff that I've really enjoyed, but it's got some long titles. You've got a large work that you're working on, a large project that you're working on, another time, life, universe, and you've just had I'm going to say a triptych video
Yeah.
of three of the songs that have just come out, and
Yeah.
it's really interesting work. I can't wait to hear more about it. It's kind of trip trip hop. Did I hear you call
Yeah.
something
Yeah. At
like that?
least
And
the
it's
first
very, I
one
mean,
is. Yeah.
yeah, there are elements that I think are almost noisy. I mean, it's a great mod podge like that. It feels very modern in that way. And then at least the videos and the music that I've listened to, the funny thing it reminds me of is Quadrophenia, and I don't know if you know.
No, I don't.
It's an old rock rockumentary by the Who,
Oh,
but it's
yeah.
a lot about growing up in I'd say like late '60s, early '70s, and about the drug culture in England at the time, and about this guy's kind of going through a love loss. And as I listen to the songs, that I'd say there's some feels like there's some overlap.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. I mean, I do have some of that. Like within the triptych, there's a lot of stuff about drugs, and then the whole Another Time Life universe is all about misconnections. So there's that whole love loss sort of element as well throughout. So yeah, I could definitely see it. But I've never seen that movie, so I should definitely check it out.
Musically it's very different, but it kind of speaks to the timelessness of the themes that you've chosen. And you say misconnection, I'm like, oh yeah, that's quadrophenia all over.
I'll have to
And
check it
it's
out.
yeah, and kind of about some mental health. The quadrophenia would kind of came from the phenia and the phobias, and the so it's yeah. Well, I guess first tell us a little bit about yourself and about how you got into music and how you got into the sort of music that you play.
Yeah. Yeah, I started playing guitar back when I was pretty young. I'd say like 12 or so. My sister had a Squire, and I would steal her Squire when she wasn't playing it anymore. And then I tried to play like Mjolnir mix from Halo 2, like some really intense solo stuff right away. Couldn't do that, but eventually I got better. And I started performing back late high school, I'd say. So I'd say the last like 7, 8 years or so I've been performing. This project right now, Another Time Life Universe, has been several years in the making because I'm releasing it song by song. So it takes, and I'm making a music video for every song. So I kind of thought that would be good because when I started making the album, I could only afford to record like one song at a time. And it seemed like a good plan at the time, but now it's like several years later and the album's not done. But makes it kind of fun though too, because every song gets its own light.
I particularly listened to the three songs that have just been videoed, or that you've just created videos for. I'm trying to think of a good way to,
Yeah.
that have just been. Um, it makes such a difference to see the music as well as to hear it. I mean, I
Hmm.
think and just to kind of dive in, why I like that song, and it's kind of almost a spoken word at moments, but there's part of the it's almost like an automatopoeia kind of a thing. As you're singing about the snow, I can feel the snow on the dashboard, and and then to see it as well really kind of brings it all together. So I'd love to hear more about that song and how it just everything about it.
Yeah. That song is a tribute to a, a favorite band of mine, Y. Their name is also Y. And especially a specific song of theirs called Good Friday. I kind of think of it as sort of a response to Good Friday in a few ways, but it's still kind of its own story. I just really admire why as like a trip hop band and the way that they're able to you just be kind of the way that Yoni is able to be like a wordsmith and just construct a narrative with really witty lyricism, and I wanted to try to emulate that a bit. Uh, and then the video element, I've always looked up to like the Gorillas and Y actually also has their own visual album too. So I've always liked visual albums as just like a holistic sort of way to look at music.
And did you hear Cake in the song too? I heard Cake of that spoken. It really jumped out at me for the first one of Why.
Yeah, I like Cake as well. Yeah.
I know it grabbed my attention, so but I love your how Anne said the hodgepodge of elements and how it gives us the emotion of what you're going for with the sonically too, and with the video also.
Yeah, I have a lot of influences, but I try to wear them all on my sleeve. I like some noise artists as well as like some trip hop artists and just classic rock artists as well. And so I tried to stir them all together, create something fun.
The nice thing about doing that is that each song sounds very different.
Mm-hmm.
It's an entirely new feel to it. The Y is more of a spoken word, and I have to say one of the clever things that I love, and this is part of seeing the song as well as hearing it, is when you sing about someone consumed by an old flame,
Mhm.
and there's I won't say effigy, but there's a
Yeah,
structure. We'll say mannequin because I don't want to say effigy
yeah,
on fire. And the
yeah,
way that you were able to bring in that a whole new dimension to that.
yeah. A fun thing about that is that that was a piece. It was a cardboard cutout that I used from a different video, 1,000. I made the whole audience just all cardboard cutouts. So that was a little bit of a nod to a previous video of mine to use one of those and burn it.
I love
If
how
you want to,
you Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I love how you bring in a piece from your other work into the new, like a nod to yourself. That's creative.
Yeah, I kind of at this point we're like 10 videos in, so it's kind of like I want to try to bring them together so that it feels more um just whole and more pieced together, like they go together sort of thing.
You know what you're making me think of is when you were listing off side effects and it kind of went farther away, kind of like Star Wars and like how you're putting all your videos together or, spin-offs of each other. It kind of makes me think that way, I guess.
I love Star Wars too.
It seems like, yeah, we get little glimpses, whatever. Yeah, you kind of give us a little vignettes of the things that you like, I guess, in your world. It seeps through here.
Definitely, yeah.
cultural references for a future PhD candidate to go through and find all the connections that you've made. Do you have the master plan for all the videos already set?
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost done with it. I have 10 out of, I'd say, I think I'm gonna have 14 videos for the whole thing. And I'm working on an animated music video right now. That's probably gonna be the next one to come out. One of them it's called Guitarionette, and it's gonna be like a marionette. And I have a friend who makes marionettes and puppets, so she can help with that music video. And then one more that's called Back in 420 BC, that's about different time periods. And so we're gonna like dress up in different time period aesthetics for each section of the song. So that's what's left. I guess I'm kind of spoiling it by telling you, but
That's
yeah,
it's a sneak preview. Makes us
yeah.
excited. Yeah. Yeah. And did you have that game plan on day one or has it emerged?
I'd say it's a bit of both. When I started this project, when I started releasing the songs, I started with one music video, and then I realized, like, yeah, if I'm going to be spending the time and money to be making all these songs, getting them recorded. I want to make a music video for everyone. So I have had that, but some of it was more spontaneous. Sometimes I'll be making a video and I'll be working with someone else and they'll just have these new ideas for what it's going to be. And like in Y, there's this scene where I'm like the cameraman is like chasing me. That I didn't come up with myself. That my friend Walt, he was filming it and he was like, I feel like right now I just want to chase you for this part. And I was like, yeah, perfect, you know? So there's a lot of that too, a lot of figuring out as I go. So it's a little bit of both.
Knowing that you're going to do the videos, I mean, this is a little bit of which come first, the chicken or the egg. Does did you have the songs written and then decide to do videos, or does knowing that you're going to do a video, does that change how you write the song?
Oh, no, I wrote the songs first. So when I initially wrote the songs, I didn't have videos in mind. So in that sense, I didn't start with all the videos in mind, but I had kind of loose ideas. You know, I always have ideas for my songs of like what it could look like, but right away it wasn't like I'm gonna make a visual album. It was more something that came out of the way that I was releasing the songs. So
Will you do that again?
I don't think so. It's just taking too long. This has been like a several year long undertaking. And it's been really fun. And now I have like a bunch of music videos for it, but I don't think I'm gonna do it again just because it took so much time and takes all the resources to make. The next one, I think I'm gonna have. I got a loop pedal, so I've been writing a bunch of loop pedal songs. But what I think I'm gonna do for the next one is all one take. Just take a video of one take, and that will be the album. So that's gonna be like completely the opposite of this. Instead of all this meticulous planning, it's all just gonna be one take. I'll plan it for that one take, but yeah,
One
I was
for the whole album.
yeah, yeah.
wow. I was
A
gonna
domino setup or House of Cards or something that could go seriously wrong. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
That's well, maybe when you have a team doing the work that you're doing, then you
Yeah.
can go back to the video, you know,
Yeah.
when you're
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
That's
I was
great.
gonna say you alluded to the cardboard cutouts. I saw that. I'm jumping just to one thing that you did a video that got some recognition this year at, is it Midwest Weird Fest?
Yeah. Yeah. I won best music video at that Weird Fest. It was really fun. Just a bunch of movies and shorts, just centering around weirdness, I guess. So that was a really fun. I went to that and it was really fun. I got to see a lot of movies I probably wouldn't have seen otherwise that I love too.
Is something like that create ideas for other projects for you? 'Cause I can imagine just,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I'd say so. I think having some of that, like seeing what other people are doing, is kind of giving me an idea of like other things that I could do. Like I do write screenplays and stuff, so
Oh,
it's if nothing else, it's kind of given me motivation to like pursue that some more in the future. Like there's I could always submit to Midwest Weird Fest and other festivals too.
Does the music play prominently in the screenplays?
Yeah, I'd say so. You know, I always have music on the mind, so I always think about what would be a good soundtrack for it, you know.
Yeah, you got a lot of directions you could go.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Well, ask a little bit more about the songs, particularly in the videos that have just come out. I had a couple runs with the devil, which is certainly visually and really, you know, with the audio as well, the most drug focused. I mean, it's you talk about
Yeah.
the dealers and you have the pharmacists. So I mean, clearly there's some commentary being made too.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to like define it too much about what the music video is, because I don't really believe that my own interpretation is like the right one. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of drug like motifs and just use of imagery there. I used some like stock footage of pill factories and stuff like that for that video.
And there are pill factories in the almost in a Willy Wonka set. They're colorful and
Yeah,
it's that
yeah,
kind of. But even as I said earlier, the music for this one is very different. It kind of starts with a much noisier start. It's got
mhm,
that the reverb staticky sort of what. I
yeah,
won't pretend to know how all the music is made, but
yeah,
and then your voice is so different in that song. It's much more
mhm.
of a falsetto, which is
Yeah, a lot of falsetto. Yeah, that one I'd say was a lot more inspired by Perfume Genius or Juju, like noise pop bands, noise rock, mixed with, that sort of like quieter, and then jumping at you noisy sort of stuff. I've always thought was really interesting.
I was gonna say, and you referenced Willy Wonka. I did too on the when they're in that boat and he's like singing and then all of a sudden it gets crazy and that's the song like you're singing so nicely and then it's like pew, 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 So it's like it is uh, just that sonic contrast in there, so
Yeah,
vivid.
that scene freaked me out when I was a kid. So
I
I wonder if
know.
it carried that into adulthood. It's like passing the torch of freaking people out.
that and the flying monkeys from Wizard of Oz, and you could have everybody's nightmare in one.
Yeah. Flying
There-
monkey.
and it does kind of tap into you. You've got so many cultural references that are subtle. I mean, in a Simpsons kind of a way, where
Mhm,
it's an homage and then move on, and you catch it or you don't. But it makes for um, richer watching multiple times.
mhm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I
So
want
it's
people to really look into it and listen in too. So yeah.
What has your feedback been?
Of these three or like the whole
Yeah.
thing or it's been positive. People are liking it. Yeah. I haven't had anything like super negative yet, even on like Submit Hub where people can be kind of mean sometimes. Um yeah, everyone's been really liking it so far. So
I was gonna say, yeah, it's interesting the layered, and I love even when you sing and your pause placements, just how you give enough time and then go. Like it's well done.
thank you.
Hmm.
I kind of aim to kind of be that um to kind of throw a wrench in the ending sort of thing, throw people off with like fake out endings. There's like three fake out endings within that. It seems like the song's over and then starts up again.
Well, it just kind of gives us enough time to like figure out, yeah, what are you doing, or how the scenario went, or whatever, like a little movie, or pick your ending sort of
Mhm.
thing.
Definitely, yeah.
and then contrast that with One Soul, which is such a quick song, and
Hmm.
it ends way before. I don't want to say way before you want, way before you expect it to.
Yeah, yeah. It's only like 45 seconds, and originally it was even shorter than that. But to add some space for some of the effects in there. We made it a little longer, but yeah, it's still only like 45 seconds at the most.
There's a line in there about one soul comes home, one soul left to go.
Mhm.
I would like to know more about that line, please.
Yeah. Again, I don't want to like show all my
Right.
hand, but
It's so
um
compelling though.
yeah,
It's
I will say that it's supposed to kind of be like there's I play with the rule of threes a lot in a way, like three characters, there's three songs, it's a triptych. I kind of think of this as like maybe like sort of demonic presence, the red screen, one soul left to go, this is kind of the third character coming in between these two characters and the devil. And so that's kind of not to give it all away, but that's kind of part of it.
It is. It's a very well. It, the effect of that it's the devil and the silhouette playing is very striking, and then that line
Yeah.
that's that's even creepier than the boat ride in the
Yeah.
in the best of ways. I mean, it does make you think, well, what's coming up next? What's coming up next?
Yeah. And that's going to be the second to last song on the album. So it goes right from that to the song called That Feeling You Get in Public Spaces, talk about another mouthful title, but that song opens with "But 'cause I'm alone, heart." So it's kind of like playing off of that one soul left to go. But all of these characters are me too. Like they're all characters, but they're all me.
The sides are
Yeah, yeah.
different days of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that.
It's yeah, well, and it's interesting to hear that you guys. I mean, the question that we often ask, given, is it sounds like this was something that started before COVID.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
You were saying 7, 8 years. I mean, it's or you've been working on it for years, and that's
Yeah.
and if I think in some way. I mean, obviously, COVID has been huge, but it changes the way we listen to music. We hear music like this, and we were brought back to some of those dark days. I mean, it is, especially with all the cultural references, you can't have gone through what we've gone through in the last 2.5 years and not have that. Has that changed how you've listened to the music or how you've played with it?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I don't know if it changes how I'm going about creating it, but how I listen to it for sure. Like I said, the closing song is called That Feeling You Get in Public Spaces, which I wrote way before COVID and didn't even think about that sort of thing. It has a lot more to do with my own social anxiety than it does with anything else. But one of my friends told me, like after COVID, she listened to it and she said, this hits different after COVID, with a title like that. I thought it hit differently again after the vaccines too, because it's a warm song overall. It's a song kind of celebrating people and connections we make. Um, so I re-released that after the vaccines as kind of like a celebration of public spaces. Like re-released it as in just put it on more serving streaming services, put it on Spotify and stuff. But yeah, it's kind of I'm always reevaluating my own stuff, and COVID is definitely a lens to do that. The stuff that I've been writing lately, like the Loop Pedal album, is definitely about COVID, but this album currently isn't. But it definitely, like I reevaluate how it reads after COVID because COVID kind of changes everything.
Interesting to re-release that song after the vaccine because it's and for folks who are listening to this many years from now, we're obviously we're not past it, but most people, I shouldn't say, many people are vaccinated, but we're going through a resurgence now of the Omicron. I mean, I know many people. I know many more people who have tested positive for COVID in the last 2 weeks than I knew 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. And so all of a sudden, public spaces, it's still we. I approach them differently now than I did a year ago, than I did 2.5 years ago than I did 5 years ago. It's really an interesting, it's an it's an interesting picture to paint.
Mhm. Yeah.
Especially tied with social anxiety because I always say I'm the shyest extrovert. I like to be out in public places, but I don't like to talk. And but
Yeah.
even my
Yeah.
feeling on public places is I was on an airplane yesterday. I was not happy to be sitting next to a stranger. Normally I'd
Yeah.
be fine
Yeah.
with that. It's all different.
Mhm.
Astute music.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're working on new music and you're working on some scripts as well on
Yeah.
screenplay. Sorry, my head's back in the airplane.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Are you playing any of this live now? Ever have you been able to?
Yeah, yeah. I just when I every song that I've released on this album, I've put on a show of some sort. Even during COVID, I was doing the live streams. I really like to do that. I put on my own house shows or do a live stream because I kind of get my own control over all of it. Um, which is nice because I can kind of curate the night how I want it to be with artists and with song choices and all that. And so I've been putting on a show for every song, and then so I put on a show just recently for these three songs, and that went well, I'd say. Other than that, I will do shows here and there. Sometimes I'll set them up. I think we're planning to do a show at the Finnish Bistro sometime in July. Me and a few friends, my mom's guitar, and Sunken Ship Irony. Um, we don't have a date set yet, but we're figuring it out. So still trying to do shows when I can, when it feels like appropriate or how it feels appropriate. Live streams if that's the best option, you know.
It's such a handle on the mixed media that the live streams have got to be a different take than, God love, especially when things started, you'd see people do live streaming that for sure would have difficulty returning an email. And it's just
Mhm.
not their milieu. It's just
Yeah, yeah,
it's,
yeah.
having a greater command would be a great help.
Hmm.
With the live shows, do you do the visual component too? Do you pair those up?
Yep. Every time, every show of these, I've closed the show with the song that's just being released, and I'll have on screen the video. So I play along with the video, and then whenever this album's done, I wanna do at least one show running through the whole thing with video behind me. I think that would be really fun.
That'd be really cool.
That would
Thanks.
be, we'll go to that show.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'll let you
Yeah.
know.
I think it adds a great element. It's a great,
Yeah.
I will include this in the notes, but where can people find you online?
So I'd say I post most of my like social media stuff on Instagram. That's at Kurmis the Frog. That's where I do most of my like social media posting. I also have a Facebook. It's Lucas Kurmis Music. I don't post there as much, but that's where I post the events. So that's a good place to find where I'm going to be doing these shows. And then musically, I'm on DistroKid. So I'm kind of on everything. I could be on Spotify, Apple Music, all that, iTunes. And then I have a Bandcamp too, which has everything too.
YouTube, which is
Yep.
where
Oh yeah, yeah.
kind of
Thank
the
you.
full.
That would be kind of a waste to not mention that one. That's where all
Well,
the music videos are.
we'll definitely include a link to that because it's really it's fun to watch. It's
Yeah.
it adds a whole nother element. It kind of makes you wish a lot more people would do that. You know,
Yeah.
so
It's fun to
yeah,
make too. I've had a really good time making it.
it's good. Yeah, they're all yeah, that's good. It shows. It's it shows. So yes. Lucas, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for telling us more about another life, another time, life, universe. And
Thanks for having
we'll
me.
look forward to we'll look forward to the next chapters and for the full performance.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you.